Hey, it's Darlene, and today I'm playing with my gel printing plate. I never really know what to call this thing. I call them jelly prints, gel plates, but basically, if you were watching my videos earlier, you saw that I made a snowflake bow, and I decorated it by using my gel plate. So I thought I'd just do a really basic video on it. This is going to be really basic, just using acrylic paints and stencils. So what you saw me earlier is I do a lot is I'll cut down that 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and make them, it would be 4.25 by 5.5, which is like card size, because I do use these prints a lot for card making, and so if they're cut down already, that saves me a step. I also had a stack of paper that, if you notice, it had a print on or pattern on one side. I know I'm not going to use those, so I'm going to use the white side of those papers to put these prints on. I'm telling you to wait because I realized I needed my under paper. It's always good to have a piece of paper or something to use because that brayer is going to get messy, so it's good to wipe that off. And why not use it on another piece of paper, because I will use that under paper, as you've seen me do before, especially in my junk journal. So a brayer isn't necessary for gel printing, but it is a really good tool to have. If you don't have it, you can always use those like fake credit cards that you get in the mail, or even like a piece of cardboard, something that you can use to scrape it without actually like cutting through the gel plate. You don't want to cut through it because it will leave a permanent mark on all your prints going forward. So basically what you do is you add acrylic paint, and well, in this case, whatever the medium is, but in my case it's acrylic paint, and you create like a wet products. So every time you pull a print, which is what it's called when you put your paper down and then pull it off the plate, that wet product gets pulled onto your paper. As you can tell by when you're watching these videos, you'll see that there's so much leftover paint. Now that will dry. If you try to put a piece of paper over that while it's dry, you will not be able to pull it. So that's why you continue to put that wet medium on top. So, and think of it like a backwards. So whatever is wet is going to be in the back of your paper, and what's dry is going to be on top of it. I don't know if that makes sense. But basically, I'm just putting some stencils down. And I have a variety of stencils. Some are store-bought, some are homemade or handmade, and I do that a lot with my cardstock when I'm making repetitive patterns. And if you're a regular follower of mine, you'll notice, and I'll tell you that I made the stencil. So the first print is called, the original first pull, and then after that it's called a ghost pull. So you see how it's a little bit lighter, but there's still so much wet medium on that it still came out pretty dark. So I'm going to just, like I said, continue to add some acrylic paint. I'm kind of sticking with basic colors. Now, excuse me, you can do more than just tone on tone like I'm doing here, but I am adding some yellow because that's a good coordinating color. But really, you can just go wild and do anything you want. You can add purples and blacks and greens and whatever. There's so many things you can do with these type of mono printing, but it's so fun to see what the pull print looks like because you really just don't know. So I'm using my brayer there because I really want to get all of that dry medium on there as well. And you see how it's just kind of this, just so pretty. Again, you don't really know what you're going to get until you pull that print. If you are not a subscriber of mine, I'm going to invite you to subscribe to my channel by hitting the subscribe button below. You can also hit the bell to be notified of any new videos. I also have a blog, which I'll list below, and on my blog I list a lot more detail on my projects. I find it's hard to type in all the information in the comment section or in the box below, so I just find it easier to do it on my blog. You see that I'm pointing out the old stars on there. So I'm using those empty spots. I'm trying to pull up more of that medium, but it had already dried. So this is a brand new stencil, and now I'm kind of going with some green tones. So again, you don't have to just keep with these like ombre or tone on tone effect. But for this video, that is what I'm doing. And one thing you'll notice if you do decide to get a gel plate, if you don't have one already, it is a lot of fun. Like, you feel like you might just do one print, but no, you'll end up doing at least a dozen or so or more, because with all that dry medium that's on it, you can still reuse it. So I try to take advantage of any medium that I have, and sometimes I'll put it on these plain papers like I am today, and other times I'll do it on printed papers because that's already kind of an added embellishment. You didn't even have to work hard for that one. So you'll see a lot of that in my junk journals where I'll have like a junk mail or some kind of form or something that has print on it, and then do the gel prints over on top of it. Oh, so pretty. Here's another handmade stencil of mine. Unfortunately, I don't think I show it, but unfortunately, this was just plain, like a very thin paper, not even a cardstock. So although I was able to do a lot of pulls with it, it ended up kind of peeling off and even sticking to the plate. So I had to be very careful because, again, like I mentioned before, you don't want to scratch the plate because that leaves permanent damage to it. I mean, it's not going to be that big of a deal, especially if it's just a little scratch, but that scratch, it's kind of like a camera lens, right? If you scratch it, every picture you take afterwards is going to have that exact same scratch. So, I'm just going through adding wet medium, some of the pulls I'm doing on previous pulls just to add more layers. Some of them I'm doing just to new ones to add just a new look. But look at how pretty that is with all the different layers, the dark and the light. It's funny because I'm not a big purple person, and every time I use it, I think, why am I using it? I'm not a big, I know people who love purple and they absolutely love it, but I'm trying to warm up to it, but I'm just not sure how these ones look, but I will use them. And like I said, and even if you don't, I can add stamping to it or just start completely over. But I do like that one because there's a lot of blue and green with that as well. Well, I'm not even sure why it's blue. I didn't use blue, I don't think. But anyhow, I'm just going through my prints. These are the smaller ones, like I said, are already prepared and prepped for cards, and then you'll see the bigger ones. But please give me a thumbs up if you like this video. I know it was very quick, but I hope that it encourages you to try the gel plate if that's something you've ever thought about. It is actually really easy, and there's so many other things you can do with it. I just used stencils this time, but we can go through another video and show you other ways to use it. If you don't have a gel plate, I'm sure there are other things you can use, like maybe a plastic bag or something that will keep that medium wet. Give me a thumbs up if you like it, and again, hit the subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Have a great day.